everybody, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Heather and we do fun sewing activities, tutorials, chats, whatever, all of it, we do it. Today I have a brand new tutorial for you for a brand new pattern, depending on when you watch this because it's brand new right now. But if you watch this video a year from now, it might not be brand new, but I guess what constitutes brand new? Who knows? All right, so first I'm gonna tell you a little bit about the bag, and then I will show you this beauty and we will get into it. So we are making a bag, finished size, 9 inches wide, 9.5 inches high, and 6 inches deep, you guys. It's like, it sounds big, but it's like the perfect size. It's the perfect size. I'm so excited about it. Today we're making the Charmaine bag from Hillel Patterns. Yes, guys, look at her. Okay, so I'm just gonna tell you a couple of cool things before we get into it, right? Cool thing number one, it's like asymmetrical connectors, and I am here for it. It is so cool. Usually you do the same thing on both sides, and I just love that it's different. We have a gate ring down here. We attached a little fuzzy. And this one's long, and it's so cool. I love it. Also, we've got a big slip pocket here in the front. We have maybe my favorite divider pocket ever. I struggle with divider pockets. I'm sure it's a thing that we all struggle with, but this one I didn't struggle with at all, and it was so fun and made so much sense to me. And I was like, oh my gosh, why have I never done a divider pocket like this before? Here for it, okay? And then we've got a zip pocket in the back as well, and it's closed with a flap closure. Okay, we used a magnetic snap rivet, but it calls for a turn lock, which of course you could use, but I didn't have. We have purse feet, and look at the space, you guys. Look at it. So awesome. And we do a cool strap. So many awesome things, you guys, seriously. You want to make this bag. You want this pattern in your arsenal. It's like a fun, boxy bucket bag, and I am like so here for it. It came out so good, and it comes together so well, and pretty quickly too for how many different pockets and items and things that are involved in this bag. It is not too long of a sew. So let's get into our materials and our sewing. All right, you guys, here we are with our materials, and this is one of those bags where there's a lot of pieces, and I'm not going to go over them all. I'm just going to give you sort of like a broad outline of where everything came from and what we need. So all of our lining interior pieces are this maroon waterproof canvas from Wonderground Fabrics. It's really good to sew with. So that's all of our lining pieces, and there's a lot of them, including all of our pocket pieces and everything like that. It's all in here. Okay, and then so we'll move to our exterior pieces. So this is our flap, and we did decide not to do 2 exteriors for the flap. We're using 1 exterior material and 1 lining material, and that will just help us with the bulkiness of this when we attach it to our bag. So just something to think about when you're making yours. You could do it with 2 exterior vinyls, whichever. This is from Marizin. It's a site that I found out of Australia. I'm in the United States, so it does cost a little bit for shipping, but worth it because I really like this. It's super pretty. And I have interfaced that already with Decaville Light. And then the only other thing that is this material is our base panel, and that is interfaced with Decaville Heavy, and I have already attached our purse feet because we use the rivet machine, and the rivet machine is really difficult for me to get on camera, so I went ahead and attached these. There are placements on the pattern piece, which I love, so you don't have to measure anything. You just plop your dots and punch your holes, and so those are already on here. So these 2 are all set, and then our main exterior material and our accents, like our slip pocket, our zip pocket, our strap accents, are this beautiful printed vinyl from Itchin' to Get Stitchin', and I just think it is gonna blend the maroon lining and the camel color accents really, really nicely. I have never used this before. I'm super excited about it. It is a pebbled vinyl. It's probably 0.9 millimeters thick, so not too bad. Really doable. So that's our main exterior. This bag is pretty hardware heavy, so we already have the 4 purse feet on. The pattern is going to have you use a twist lock on the flap, but we're actually going to use a magnetic snap rivet. We're going to go through both layers because it has that riveted side. It looks finished. I just am lacking in the turn lock department. And I also wanted to show you that if you don't have turn locks, that's totally fine. You can use magnetic snap rivets if you have them. We have our regular rivets that we're going to need for putting our strap together. We have 2 D-rings and a gate ring. And then we have in 1.5 inch 2 swivel hooks. These are from Waywack. Oh, and I will link everything that I can in the description box below. So make sure you just click see more in the description. If you want to see if any of this is linkable, I will link it. And then we have 2 sliders. We need 1 slider, but we also need a rectangle ring, and I don't have any in 1.5 inch size. So we're just going to pull out the slider bar to make a rectangle ring of our own. So that's why we have 2 of these. And then we're going to use this webbing. Sort of incorporates that camel and some of the browns from the flowers, and it looked really good with the strap accents when I put it together. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see. We need number 5 zipper tape, and we have silver coils here to match our hardware. We have 2 zippers, and then we are not going to make the side connectors. We are going to use webbing for the side connectors. So this is 1 inch wide webbing from Zipper Valley. I don't know, does it say? It's color brownie points. I love that it comes on these rolls, by the way. Such a huge fan. Color brownie points, and again, it just matches up really nicely with everything that we have going on. And if you've watched my videos before, you know your girl is not a fan of making straps. So I saw it as an opportunity, but also, there are great instructions, and so if you want to make the strap, you can make the strap, but I just wanted to show that there are a few different ways that you could make this bag your own. And if you are like me and you don't like making straps, girl, get your vinyl and your webbing and let's go. We can do it. So that is what we are going to do today. We're going to start off with putting together our crossbody strap, and then we'll move into creating all of our interior pockets. So let's head on over to the sewing machine and get going. All right, you guys, so we're at the machine, which we're not technically using yet. We're going to start with our strap, like I said, but the machine is a Juki TL2010Q. We'll be using black Tex 35 thread in our top and our bobbin. We just haven't switched it out yet, but we will before we get to sewing. Microtex 9014 needle and our tank foot, which is our fave foot. All right, so we have 2 different length straps. So we're going to start off with what's considered the shorter strap. And really we just want to put this around our rectangle ring. And we have one of our strap ends that we folded in half. And we're just going to sort of pop that on there. We're not stitching it on. We're going to rivet through everything. So we're using 10mm rivets here. Now, if you don't have rivets, you can feel free to stitch. All right, so that's what we're looking at for that one. And then on our long one here, we're going to thread through our slider and back under. And we are attaching to itself. So we're just gonna, once again, take that strap end, fold it in half, fit it right around our end here. Get it to a place where you'd like it. And we're just gonna clip it down for now. I will take these to the rivet press, but I'm gonna do that off camera. So I'm just clipping everything we can for the time being. Okay, now we're gonna take our strap connector pieces. All right, so we went ahead and just placed our rivets. We have not set them yet, but they're there because we needed to. And now we are going to take the long piece of webbing. We're gonna thread it through the rectangle ring on the short piece. And then we are gonna come up and back through our slider. We picked a pretty thick webbing here. This is what's going to make our strap adjustable. Okay. And you can see I've attached an end down here already. I'm going to go ahead and do that same thing on this side. So we're just going to take piece like so. So the swivel is right in half. And then we're going to take our end, and our webbing is actually pretty wide, and so it doesn't fit all the way down to the bottom, but that's totally fine. We're going to fit it until it looks like it would come out, basically, because we don't want that. And then we're going to go ahead and clip in place. Isn't this such a cool way to do a strap? I love the little accents of it. All right, so this we do need to stitch. So I'm going to change out our thread and then stitch these on just 1/8 of an inch away and set our rivets, and then we'll be done with our strap. All right, so we have everything switched over. We've set our rivets, and we went ahead and sewed one, and we did 2 rows. We're gonna do the same thing over here, and we're just gonna sew this one together. So you wanna get as close as you can to that swivel. And we're back stitching beginning and the end. We're gonna go around first at 1/8 of an inch and then at 1/4 of an inch. And you can use rivets here too if you wish, but I prefer to just do 2 rows of stitching. And you just want to sort of take your time through this curve and move your presser foot every once in a while. That will help you sort of go around nice and smooth. so that's our first go around. And then, like I said, we're just going to do a 1/4 inch this time. Still back stitching. That noise was just the back of my tank foot catching the material, so. Okay, there we go. 2 rows done, and now our strap is not going a single other place. It is going to be good to go. I'm just sealing those. They like crunch in on themselves. That's not the word for it, but you know, whatever. You know what I mean. All right, our strap is done. We're going to set it to the side for now. Now the next thing you would do here, if you were constructing your connectors, your side connectors yourself, would be to do that. But we are not, so because they're already the width that we want them, we're just gonna come in here and clip on our D-rings, and then we're gonna set these to the side for now as well. So if you're time crunched, this is also, maybe you like making straps but you don't have a ton of time, it's also a really easy, fast solution. All right, so once we're finished with this, we are gonna start constructing our interior pockets, starting with our slip pocket. So we're gonna set these to the side and grab our slip pocket materials. All right, so we have our slip pocket piece, and forget this line here. That was just for when I was cutting our pattern pieces, but we did draw 2 long lines down the long sides, and we need those because we are going to, and you can use double-sided tape here. I'm not going to. We're just gonna crease and fold and then clip. So we're gonna fold over to that line all the way down both long ends. All right, so we're all clipped, and now just easy peasy, we're gonna go ahead and fold this so that the tops match. And we do have a zipper facing here, so we can have those raw edges at the top because we're gonna fold over a piece of our vinyl. And I'm just gonna go ahead and work these clips over so that they are encompassing both sides. Okay, same thing over here. All right, there we go. So this top piece here is obviously where we're going to put our zipper facing, but not just yet. So this pattern actually has us doing sort of a decorative stitch. So we're going to go around all 3 sides that are not the top at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And we're just going to do a little decorative stitch. Obviously, we're going to stitch this onto our lining. So we'll have 2 stitches all the way around. there we go. Decorative stitch complete. Now we want to put on our zipper facing. So we're just going to take this, we're going to give it a good crease right down the center. Again, here you could be using double-sided tape. We're going to use clips. You can use whatever you'd like. We all have some things that we really go to all the time, and some things we're not such big fans of, so you use whatever you like. Okay, and we're just going to place this right in the center. And again, we're using clips here. You just want it to be even, basically, and so whatever will help you achieve that. And it does overhang, which is totally fine because it allows us the ability to just cut off the extra. All right, now we're just going to go ahead and stitch very closely to the edge here on the bottom. I'm just making sure that we stitch and backstitch while we're still on the canvas. That's perfect. You can do another line of stitching if you want. We can go ahead and cut off our excess at this point. All right, and now we can grab one of our lining panels to attach this. All right, so we've grabbed our lining piece. We have marked a line 1 inch down from the top and our center. And that's where we're gonna put our pocket. Okay, so you can use tape if you'd like. I'm just gonna hold it and sort of bring it over. And we're just going to make sure that we stay sort of lined up with that top line in the center. Just make sure you do a good back stitch here. And we're doing this about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge, so we're splitting in between our first stitch line and the edge of the slip pocket. Okay, and before we stitch that down again, here I'm just going to make sure that we're straight on with our where we need it to be. And as we get to the top here again, just do a nice back stitch. You can put rivets here if you'd like. We're gonna forego, but there we go. There is our slip pocket, all done. Looks beautiful. And so that means that we are 1 of 3 interior pockets complete. So the next thing that we're gonna do is move on to our zipper pocket. So we've got our second lining piece. Just gonna find the center of that. And I'm just creasing. This is waterproof canvas, so it creases really nicely. We're gonna grab our Omni Grid again, measure down 1 inch from the center, or from the top, excuse me. And once again, we're going to mark that center marking. We're just using chalk here for that. We're going a little out of order from the pattern, but that's because I like to get this part done before we put together our like zipper pocket pieces. And so it doesn't really matter what order you do them in, whatever you're most comfortable with. We're using some double-sided tape here. Just to hold this down while we stitch it. I love a good zipper facing, you guys. I really do. I just think it makes it look so nice. Oh gosh, you know what we forgot, you guys? A bag tag. We're gonna have to look. See if we want it on the inside or the outside. What were we thinking? All right, let's see. I'm just folding this to find the center, just creasing. And then we'll just stick her down. And we're gonna stitch around the entire outside of this piece. You can start where you'd like, but because we're using black thread, I'm going to start in one of the darker spots right here on the bottom. You're less likely to see the start and stop point on the bottom because it's inside the bag. And I'm just going to make multiple sort of pivot points to go around this exterior curve here. I just find it helps with precision to sort of take those little extra bits to get us where we want to be. And then we'll just go right back to where we started. So we just went around the exterior here, and now we're going to grab a seam ripper. Start us off, and basically we just want to cut away this extra lining on the inside, but we do not want to cut our vinyl facing. So here you can see I'm sort of putting my finger in there and just pushing that vinyl facing down because we did stick it with double-sided tape. So it's gonna wanna hang out, be a part of the party, but we don't want it to be. Just wanna cut through your interior. You'll be very upset with yourself if you cut through your zipper facing. And this does not have to be pretty, it just has to be out of the way of your zipper box. In fact, it shouldn't be pretty. This is the one place where it doesn't matter how you cut. Almost there, you guys. There we go. So from the back, hot mess. From the front, so pretty. All right. We are gonna grab our zip. Let's grab our, and this is the way I figure out how much zip tape we need. Just put it up there and give it a good old cut, just a little longer than you need. Okay. Now, the thing with the zipper pocket, this is one panel, which is great because we don't have to sew the bottom. You want, for the zipper, the good side to be on the inside where we can't see it. So, because of that, we're going to take our zipper tape with the right side of our zipper panel facing up. We're going to baste our zipper tape with our zipper teeth facing up as well. And you can clip if you're not comfortable holding a straight line. You do you. All right, so that's on there, right? Now, we're gonna take our other end and we're just gonna turn that up and stitch it on the same way. So now we're looking at wrong side, and our good sides are on the inside, which is exactly what you want when you're making a zipper panel. And we're just basting, and basting is 1/8 of an inch, so nothing cray-cray. We're gonna grab our double-sided tape here. And we're just gonna put it on both sides of our zipper right there at the bottom. And I just like to do this before we put the pull on, because once you put the pull on, it creates just a little bump, and you know what? I like the double-sided tape to be straight. So there we go. And same thing here. Let's make sure that's pressed down really nicely. Okay, and I can see that this side is wanting to open a little, so that's the side I'm going to choose to put our pull on. I would suggest, if you're making a lot of bags, to definitely invest in zipper tape if you haven't. When I first started making bags, I was getting like individual zippers, and obviously it's much more economical if you're making a lot of bags to just get some zipper tape. All right. We're gonna worry just about the bottom here, and I've decided that we want our zipper to open to the right, and so this is how this will be our bottom here. So we're just taking off our bottom double-sided tape. Okay. And we're just gonna center to the best of our ability our zipper panel. Okay, like I said, we're just doing the bottom for now, and we're going to sew from about 1/8 of an inch over from where our box ends all the way across the bottom, and to about 1/8 of an inch from where our box begins. Okay. Readjust if needed. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. Now just make sure that your zipper pocket panel pieces are sticking out the top for this step. We're going to go ahead and move our zipper pull out of the way. Okay. All right, now we're gonna put our zipper panel pieces to the bottom. We are gonna come in here and peel back our double-sided tape. And we're just gonna push this down. Okay, like so. Now, we'll go ahead with our zipper pocket pieces underneath our lining now, and we're gonna pick up where we left off. We're gonna come up, stitch, go all the way down, and back down to where we started. We're just gonna make sure that we take our time over our zipper teeth, as always, because I am terrified of breaking a needle. Terrified. Is anybody else terrified? That just like the noise it makes, you know? I'm like, nope, not here for it. Let's go ahead and move your zipper pull out of the way. one more stitch here. Then we can go down carefully over those teeth. All right, there we go. I think my lighter is running out. And so now we just have to close up our zip pocket, but that's why I like it. It looks so good. All right, so we're just gonna pull our main lining piece sort of out of the way. We're gonna go ahead and finish off these sides of our pocket. Our top and bottom is secure already, so we do not have to worry about that. We're just stitching down both of our sides. You can trim this if you want. It's not necessary though. It's not going to get in our way at all. But totally up to you. Now the other side. Okay. There we go. That is done. Now we can move on to our divider pocket. All right, so we have our 4 divider pocket pieces. We have our zipper panel. We've already put our zip on, and we put one of our zip tabs on. Here I'm just going to explain to you how to make that zip tab. So we're just folding it in half and then bringing both raw edges into that half, and then we fold over one more time. It's that simple, okay? And then we're just going to envelope our zipper in there. So about 1/8 of an inch away from the inside edge closest to the zipper. And there we go. Zipper tab complete. Oh, I think I'm running out, you guys. See how many times I have to click that? Oh my gosh. All right. We're just going to find the center. And you could clip into this if you wish, but I don't like to do that. So I'm just going to grab my chalk. Just sort of make some lines there in the center. We've also found the centers of all of our divider pocket panels. So all 4 have center markings. And now basically we're just making almost like a pouch with these, right? So we're gonna have an inside and an outside. Both look the same. And we're just matching up those centers. And then we're going to take, so this one here is right side up, our zip is wrong side down. We're going to take another panel and just finding that center marking. We're going to put that wrong side down. I'm sorry, right side down so that right sides are together. We're just adding everything into our clips, and then we're going to stitch together. Okay, and I can feel we're coming up to our zipper pull, so we're just going to move that out of the way. Okay, so now we have a right side and a wrong side, and we're just going to pull those apart, and we will top stitch just along this zipper portion here. Actually, we're going to top stitch along the whole thing. So let's finger press apart. And we'll just continue to sort of make sure that all of that is pulled far away from the zipper. Top stitch 1/8 of an inch away from the top. This should be relatively simple since it is waterproof canvas, no interfacing or anything like that. So I don't do a ton of divider pockets, but I like having this skill. And a lot of people in their pattern making, they do divider pockets different. So it's interesting to see what people choose and what they like. And sort of like I'm always telling you guys, like sewing is so personal. And so there's no right or wrong way. We all do things different, but eventually you might find a way that you really enjoy. And I think that's why I do so many different patterns, is because that's what I'm hoping. All right. So again, this is just like a pouch construction at this point. We're just popping those centers. I'm going to go ahead and do the exact same thing that I just did for the other side with this side, and then we'll come back together to finish off our divider pocket. So it's just a bunch of right sides together. Okay, that's done. What we're gonna do now is, with these right sides out, we're gonna go ahead and clip all 4 of our pieces so that they line up with each other. Okay, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna clip around all 3 of these sides. All right, so we're clipped together, and they might not line up exactly if you're a terrible cutter like me. That's totally fine. What's really just most important is that the tops match up, that's all. And we're just gonna baste these together, just being mindful of those zipper tabs because they are pretty hefty. And this will just keep our divider pocket together before we stitch it into our lining. Okay, there we go, you guys. So that's basted together, and basically that's going to give us this. So when you open the divider pocket, it's a pocket. We're going to set this to the side for now, and we're going to go ahead and pull up one of our facings and one of our linings. And you could have done facings in the exterior material, but again, I'm sort of always thinking about bulk when we're sewing. And so I've been doing facings with the same as the interior. It actually looks pretty good. So that's what we're going to do here too. So we're just going to take the facing and we're going to turn that right side down so that right sides are together. Now again, I'm not a good cutter, so it might not be straight, but that's fine. Best of our ability, right? So I'm just clipping. We're going to sew together and just make sure that you do follow the seam allowance here. Sometimes seam allowances don't matter if you like decide on your own and then do it all the way through, but when you're making facings and things like that, they are actually really important. All right, and then we're going to flip that and we're going to put it underneath our main lining because that's what we want to, so I'll show you, we want our seam allowance to be facing downwards, okay? Because we're going to top stitch on our main lining panel. And I'm just pulling these two away from each other to make sure we don't have anything unnecessary. We're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing on our other lining panel. All right. So we have our facings on. We've also attached, we found a fabulously matched bag tag from Heartwood and Hide Co. and we sewed that on. Okay, so we have our two panels, and on the back side of each we have done per the pattern instructions and marked lines on all four of those corners. Now, what we're going to do is begin to attach our divider pocket. And I'm just going to pay close attention to the way in which the zippers open and close because we want them to go in the same direction. So here we've gone ahead and moved that. Okay, so we're just putting this in here. Okay, for now. And then we're going to take our other lining piece and put that right side down. And we also have center markings on everything here, so we're just lining that up as best as we can. And we're going to just fold these into our clips. Okay. Now, we are going to sew at a 1/2 inch seam allowance, starting from this line that we made and ending at this line that we made, just across the bottom. Okay. So our divider pocket is now stitched in. What we want to do now is just match our tops here where they sort of combine. Okay. That will make sure that we have a nice seam all the way around. Okay, but then what we want to do is we want to reach in here and get our divider pocket panel, because we want to stitch it into our side seams. Okay, which is not going to be the easiest. But we left that opening there, so we're just gonna match up our bottom corners without that excess in there. Okay, we're gonna clip, and then ensuring that our pocket is in here, we're just gonna keep clipping all the way up. And then we're going to go ahead, we're actually going to stitch this side on so that it's a little easier for us to go ahead and add it into the second. Let me see if I can show you. So right now this is what it looks like in there. You can see that pocket. All right, so we're going to start at the bottom, making sure everything else is out of the way. Okay. Just move it. And we're going to start sort of right there where everything comes together. And again, just make sure you're following the seam allowance here. We're sticking a little to the wax back of our waterproof canvas. We're also coming up on that zipper tab piece, which is going to be, just want to get by that with no issues really. So we're going to hand crank, because we're getting pretty close. And then we're going to move back out to our original, to the seam allowance that we need our top to be sewn at in order for this bag to really go together nicely. Okay. So we're just going to take a little look-see. And we look pretty good, you guys. I like it. All right, we're gonna do the same thing over here on this side, and then we'll come, I'm gonna do that off camera because literally again, just doing the exact same thing that we just did, and then we'll come back together to box our corners. All right, both sides are stitched together, and it's looking really good so far. I love a good divider pocket. All right, we're gonna box our corners, which is gonna, I'm not gonna lie, will be a little difficult, if we're being totally honest, because we have that divider pocket in there. So we're just gonna do the best that we can, and we're not gonna worry about it. That's what I've decided. We're gonna probably have to hand crank through a lot of this. and that's okay. We're also just sort of moving our seams to basically where they want to go. And then we're going to stitch together our box. And we're not going to go too crazy. Like I said, I don't want to worry too much about all this bulk here at the bottom. We just want it to be closed, basically. And so here I'm going to take my time. I'm going to listen for when my machine starts to struggle, like right there. And then I'm just going to hand crank. And we do seem to be getting a little waxy, so fix my needle. Put some hydrogen peroxide on it. Anybody have like a thick throat plate for this machine? I might need it, you know what I mean? All right, we're gonna have to scooch on out. And we'll go from this side now. We were struggling catching sort of the bottom, and so instead of continuing to struggle, we're just going to come at it from this other side here. See if we can work our way past it. And this is kind of what I was talking about, where it might be difficult with that divider pocket. So we're just hand cranking. And then what we'll do is we're just going to look in here and just make sure that we have everything closed up, and we do. So you know what? We're good with that. We are good with that, you guys. Just going to cut off some of that bulk there. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other box, and then you guys, we're going to move to our exterior. And I'm just going to tell you a little tidbit. This is the inside is the most difficult part of this bag, and so we are almost done the most difficult part, and it's about to get smooth sailing from here. All right, it's flap time. So we are putting our flaps together in a way that we have to cut sort of slits for. And so basically at this moment, what we're going to do is go ahead and fold over the straight sides of our flap. And here again, you can use double-sided tape. Okay, and then down here at the bottom, we are folding up the bottom as well. And we're going to end up making some cuts. Of our corners so that everything sort of lays flat. We're basically putting this together in a way that we don't have to turn it out. So easier on our fingers, but we do have to be a little precise on sort of what we're doing. So there's that. Okay. So those are good. Now up here where it curves, we're actually going to make slits into our fabric or vinyl, waterproof canvas, whatever, into our material. Almost like triangles. Well, they are triangles. Okay, so we're going to do that all the way around, and this will enable us to, I'll show you briefly, like wrap around without it being too bulky, anything like that. So we're going to do that all the way around this curve, and we're going to fold this in exactly the same way. We don't have the interface in here, so I went ahead and drew the lines per the pattern. So we're going to fold both of these, and then we will put them together. Okay, so we have both of our pieces turned over, and what we're going to do now, and I'll do it off camera, is we are going to just combine our clips and our pieces so that it makes one solid piece with a front and a back. I'm just going to unclip and reclip both of these pieces together. Okay, and we differed from the pattern just slightly. We have folded over the ends, so we're not going to sew it down and then up. We'll be able to just stitch it right on, but you can do whatever it is that you would like. I'm going to sew with our lining side up, actually, because it's a little smaller in some parts, and I just want to make sure that we get it. So I'm not worried about our bobbin thread. It's the same as our top, so we're just going around 1/8 of an inch the entirety of our flap here. And we're just sort of readjusting as we go, because I can see that we have, our lining has moved a little bit, and that's fine. So we just want to make sure everything sort of gets back in there, covers everything, and that we're good to go. And I'm just holding down our pieces as we get back down to the bottom. And there we go. Top stitched around our flap. Caught everything. Look good to go here. Okay. We're going to grab one of our exterior pieces. We're breaking our nails here. I did not have time to redo them, so I took off my old gels, but didn't redo them, so now they're breaking. Of course, of course. Okay, so before we attach to our back piece, I am just putting in our magnetic snap here. And so I want one rivet cap. And I have gone ahead and used the marking in the pattern. Okay, so this is our underside. Okay, just like that. And I'm going to set this and then we will stitch our flap on. All right, so our panels are exactly the same, so it doesn't really matter. We have marked our top center and we have our line. I'm just going to actually draw a center line down. Okay. Just moving these clippies. And we want to center this on that line. Just put in some clips, and then we're going to stitch across. And we'll do 2 lines here. We're going to go ahead and just hop into the stitching that we already did. Okay, and then we will go up there we go. 2 lines and our flap is stitched on. Just cutting those threads. All right, there we go. Looking good, you guys. Now our next step is to grab our front panel. And what we want to do here is line up one side that we're going to stitch together to put our long connector. Okay, again here, just make sure that you follow the seam allowance. And this is actually really cool. I've never done done a connector down the side of a bag before, so I'm pretty excited about that. In order for us to be able to do it successfully, we do need this seam to be nice and flat. So we're just finger pressing it open for the time being, and I'm going to just put a couple clips. We'll continue to sort of work on that, but I want to set up, we're going to flip it, and we're going to set up our connector. Okay, we're centering it over that seam, and again, this is the long side here. So we're just going to fold our webbing piece down just a little bit more. We're going to grab our Omni Grid and we're going to measure per the pattern down from the top. 1.5 inches. And this isn't where we need it to be, but that's okay. As long as it's 1.5 inches, I can figure that out. And the reason that it matters where you put this is because we're gonna align the shorter one the same height. And so just to keep them even, that's what we're looking for. And so I'm just gonna see, and that's actually the perfect height that we have this at right now. So I'm just going to take my webbing, center it over that seam, incorporate it into the clip. And I am going to tape this down just to make sure that it stays straight. So I'm just grabbing some hockey tape. Yes, hockey tape. Hockey tape is not a traditional sewing material, but in this house it sure is. It sure is. We have a lot of it. And I stole some because it was sitting on the kitchen table for weeks and weeks and weeks, and I figured nobody must need this, so it's mine. All right, and I just want to make sure that we're straight. And this will just come right off. It's one of the reasons why I like to use it. It doesn't stay, you know, stuck to anything. And now we know we're straight. So we are going to stitch across the bottom, up the top, as close as we can get to the D-ring connector, so we make sure that we get that back side and then back down this side here. And I'm just making sure that everything is flat, our seams and all of that underneath our webbing. And again, I'm going to try to get as close as possible to our connector. And then right back down the other side, you guys. Okay, is that not the funnest thing? So cool. That part is done. And now we need to, well, it says that we need to attach the other part of our closure, but we're gonna wait and do that. We're gonna work on attaching the base first. So I'm going to find our centers. On all four sides. And like I said, we pre-attached our purse feet. Looks like we forgot to find the center of this panel here. So we're just going to match up our base. Okay. So now with our right side up, we're going to take our base and put that right side down. We're going to match up our center notches. Okay, so we have everything clipped. Now, one of the things that I will note is like we're going to have to pay attention because our purse feet, if we were like to leave it like this, they're pretty high, so it changes the angle of our bottom piece, and so we're just going to pay close attention to that. And you shouldn't be sewing over your Decaville heavy, so it shouldn't be an issue at all. Now we're going to top stitch. Okay, and we're going to put the seams underneath our base here. And we're going to top stitch on our bottom panel vinyl. Now we want to attach our other base. Okay, so we're going to match up those centers. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing and the same top stitch on this side, and then we'll come back together and box our corners. All right, the second side was kind of difficult because you have to do it from the inside, but we got it done. We did it. Before we box our corners, we do just have to close off this other side that we don't have closed off yet. This is such a fun sized bag, you guys. Here for it. All right, so we're just going to stitch this together straight down the side. Add the seam allowance given in the pattern. That's just the back of my tank foot, you guys. And some people hear that and they're like, oh my god, your machine. It's not my machine, it's the tank foot. Although, I mean, I'm sure my machine needs some love too. Let's be real. All right. Now we can box our corners, okay? So we're just gonna line up our centers. And go straight across. See how easy peasy that is? We're just gonna scooch this down just a hair. This is the side that, of course, we did not get to sort of lay this out the same way, but that's okay. Okay? We're just gonna we're gonna trim some of these long threads so that they don't interfere with any of our stitching. And we're gonna go ahead and sew across. Just make sure you get a good back stitch here. Going over a few layers. And this is all vinyl, and it's pretty chunky vinyl. Not gonna fool you. Got some meat to her. All right, I'm gonna take a look at that. And it looks pretty good to me. I do not think that we need to, you can do another row of stitching if you want right next to that, or you can leave it, whichever. All right, we're gonna do this second side exactly the same way, and then I'm gonna turn out the bag so that we can put on our second connector and so that we can put the correct placement on our other part of our snap. All right, so our bag is turned and we have made our hole. So we basically just plopped our flap over, made a mark, and made a hole for the the female part of our snap here. just need a lid, a cap. We also put a hole through some Decaville Heavy, just some scraps. I never throw that stuff away. It can always come in handy, you guys, always. All right, so we'll just put this right there, and then we'll put our Decaville Heavy, and then snap it, and we're gonna go set this really quickly before we move on to putting on our side connector. All right, so that's all set. We're just gonna come in here to our other side, and we're gonna flatten that seam underneath, just like we did before. We also need to measure 1.5 inches down from the top. Just as before. And that's where we need to put our small connector. So you can see we added our gate ring down the bottom. It does not leave much space in here for stitching. So I'm a little worried about that, but we'll see. We'll see. So our gate ring will fall to the bottom, and we have a cool little fluffy thing that we're gonna hang off of it. And we just want our top to sort of match up with that line so that it's sitting at the same spot as our other connector over here. So we're just gonna go for it. Don't have a cylinder arm, so this is not the easiest task, but we might just try to do one stitch across on the top and the bottom, maybe, instead of a box, and then we'll do rivets, is I think the way that we're gonna go here. So you do whatever you can with whatever sewing machine you have. Obviously, we all have different machines, and so we all have sort of different capabilities. That's totally fine. You do you, whatever you can make work. I don't know, maybe we can do it. Let's see. I just want to see if we're able to move the bag that way. Okay. All right, let's see. You can't see, I can't see, but we're gonna give it a go here. And really, I just want to make sure that I'm over that edge because this gate ring comes up pretty far. Let's see here, guys. Let's see. I think we're gonna do it. I think we got it. Shouldn't talk too soon, right? Well, it does look like we got it. But I'm just gonna go in and I'm gonna see if I can do another stitch. Down this bottom here. See if we can get just a little bit closer. Not worried about the top at all. Okay, I feel better about that. Here we go. so fun. I like that it's different. I think it's like just, it's cool. That's a cool little aspect. All right, you guys, so we're on to final assembly now, which is so exciting. We did not turn over our bags yet, and so I am just gonna do that now. There's a measurement in the pattern, so I'm just going to go all the way around and fold inward on our exterior, and then we'll drop in our lining. All right, so we're clipped all the way around. Excuse me, guys. Now I want our zip pocket to be on the back side. So we're going to put our interior in. Like so. Okay. And then we're gonna fold our interior out to give it that finished edge. We're gonna match up our side seams and our centers, and we're gonna clip everything in with the exterior. All right, you guys, we are clipped. Feeling so good about it. Looks like it fits perfect. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna give it a go here. We're gonna make sure our flap stays out of the way. We're gonna start on the back side, and I checked my bobbin, so we're good there. I would definitely suggest checking your bobbin before your final top stitch. I'm gonna move you over so you can see a little better. And we're gonna go for it. This is always the part that I'm most terrified of. Get to the end and you're like, ah, am I gonna mess it up? Why is that not working? There we go, we caught. Again, just make sure that that flap stays out of the way on you. For the most part, this should be a pretty simple top stitch. We are going to run into a little bit of bulk on our side seams. Shouldn't be too bad, but it is definitely going to be noticeable. So we're just going to pay attention to that as we come up to our side seams. And I'm just sort of crunching it down. And continuing to move our bag. I'm going to hand crank through these, oh, you can see that? I'm going to hand crank through these bulky bits here. Just in an effort to make sure that we don't skip any stitches. Trying to solve the problems before we have a problem. Better safe than sorry. And I'm okay with hand cranking through a few stitches if it means I'm gonna have a nice result. Okay, we're past that bulkiness, so I'm just gonna move the bag again. We're on the front now, so I'm just going to really try to make sure that we keep that nice straight top stitch. And we're coming back around, so we're almost done. We're almost done. And you're just kind of always continually moving the bag so that it is in a good spot for you. Make sure that D-ring is out of the way. All right, we're coming back up on an area in which we will probably hand crank. Just want to make sure that our D-ring is popped down there out of the way, and it is. So I'm just listening for that little bit there. I can see the finish line. Don't get me wrong, I like bags that take a long time, but sometimes like you get really close to the end and you're like, okay, I'm ready. I am ready. Okay, and as we come back up to where we started, we'll just do one more back stitch. And that's it. All right, let's go to the finish table and take a look. Oh yeah, our hand cranking worked so perfect. So let's take a look at our bag and pop on our handle and our little cute accessory. All right, you guys, we just attached our strap and our cute little fuzzy. The pattern has you making fringe, but I wanted a fuzzy because I felt like it looked really good. And here we are, finished with our bag. Look at how cool these colors came together. Everything just flows. I love when colors, look at that bottom. Yes, I love when colors come together and you're not sure, like how you want it to work, but you're not sure. It came together and I'm here for it. So this bag is rated as a confident beginner, and I'm gonna go ahead and say that's true. I think probably the most difficult part is this flap. If you've never constructed a flap before where you're not turning it, it's a little difficult, and I think you probably could make the flap turned if you wanted, if you were more comfortable that way, and I don't think it would be such a big deal. Again, you know, we have the slip pocket, we have the divider pocket, and then we've got the big zip pocket in the back, and there's just a ton of space in here. I think probably my favorite part is the strap connectors that are asymmetrical. And I just love, look at, I love it. I like that we have the gate ring on there that we can attach other things. It's just like, it's a super fun bag. Comes together pretty quickly. It's a really, really good size. Super deep. You can fit a lot. It has a lot of pockets. I keep messing around with this because it's coming off center as I'm moving it, but you know what? That's totally fine. We're just finagling. There we go. All right. I love it. Do you love it? You have to tell me if you make this bag, please, in the comments below. Let me know what you think of it. I think it's so fun. I hope that you'll pick up the pattern and join me in sewing this. Thank you so much for being with me again today. I really do appreciate you guys, and I hope you have an awesome day. I will see you soon.